Good morning Year 3, welcome to your maths video for Wednesday the 10th of February. So this is a video for you if you've got the Year 3 maths booklet, okay? So yesterday we completed page 22 in our booklet and we had some fantastic pieces of work sent in. I want to give a big shout out to Kevin and Zane. Your maths work is just amazing, boys. We can see you working really hard, so keep up the good work, we're very proud. And I've got lots more shout outs that I want to be giving out this week because I'm noticing lots of us are trying really hard with our maths at the moment. So well done Year 3. Now today we're going to move on. So we finished page 22 yesterday. We're going to be completing page 23 in our maths booklets today, which has got exercise 23 at the top. And we're going to complete all 3 sections. But before we get on to that, let's warm ourselves up ready for our learning today and then have a look at our learning question. So my warm-up today, I have got lots of different cards for you. And these are what we call loop cards, okay? So a loop, we know, it continues going round and round and round. So you should be able to use all of these cards and it will loop back to the card you started with. Now we have used loop cards in school before and you may have used them in previous years too. So I'm going to explain how you use them and then I want you to pause the video and have a go at copying some of these loop cards down, okay? See if you can make a loop. So how we use our loop cards? We pick one card to start with, so you can pick any card from here and you'll see that each card has got a big number at the top, which is the answer, but then it tells you what to do with that number as well. So when we start off, we're going to pick one card. So you can pick any, but I'm just going to pick the first card there. And I'm going to imagine this is my purple book. So I'd like you to have a go at this in your purple book and you can send in a picture to our Year 3 email. So I'd love to see if you manage to get your cards to follow round in a loop. So I'm going to draw my first card that I picked. So it's got a 7 at the top and then it's telling me to multiply 7 by 2, okay? And when we've done that, we're going to get an answer where we need to search for the answer here in these loop cards and that will give me the next card I need to do. So 7 times 2, can you count in your 2s with me? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, okay? So can you find number 14 at the top of one of these cards? Or can you spot it before I can? Oh, there it is. So I'm going to draw the next card. It's looped and gave me the next card, which is 14. And it's telling me to subtract 2 from that 14. And I know 14 take away 2 ones is 12. So I'm going to search for the number 12. Can you find it? Oh, there it is. So my next card is 12. And I'm going to be dividing 12 by 3, sharing it into 3 equal groups. And the answer to that one, I need to search for it, and that will be my next card, okay? So you can pick any card to start with, set these out in your purple books, and I can't wait to see if you manage to have the whole loop of the cards. That means you use all the cards, and the last card you use, the answer you get to it, should be the answer that's at the top of your first card, okay? And that's how it loops around. So pause the video now and use these cards to see if you can make a loop. Off you go. So hopefully you just had a good go at my warm-up challenge for today. So let's have a look at our learning question today. It says, can I solve a range of number sentences and problems that involve multiple steps? Now, multiple steps just means that we're going to be doing more than one thing to get our answer or solve our problems today, okay? So you might be expected to do an addition and a subtraction to figure out the answer to one question, or there could be a question where you've got an addition, subtraction and a multiplication, okay? So we're going to be looking at breaking our number sentences and problems down into smaller parts so we can solve them properly. Right, so let's have a look at some of our startup challenge questions for today. Now you'll notice first, I'm going to do a bit of a recap of our previous learning, because I've spotted that there's some questions in your startup challenge today that use inverse operations, which we were using yesterday, and you were really good at that year 3. So if it was an addition problem, if it was a missing number in the middle, we'd be using subtraction, because that's the inverse, the opposite operation to addition. Or if it was a multiplication, we were using the opposite operation sometimes for our question, which was division, okay? Now we've also got some questions where we need to use our times table facts to help us. So let's have a look at 2 types of those questions. So I've got 320 equals 8 times something. Now I know my 8 times table, and I know 320 must be a multiple of 8, because that's the answer. But I only know up to 8 times 12, which is 96, and 320 is a lot bigger than 96. So I'm going to look at that really carefully. Now if I cover over the 0, I get the answer 32. 8 times something equals 32. Now I know that's in my 8 times table up to 12 times 8. So let's count in our 8s. 8, 16, 24, 32. Because 8 times 4 is 32. Okay, but the answer for this question is 320. Now if I look at 32 and 320, what do you notice? Well, 320 is 10 times bigger than 32. So, I know it's 8 times 4 is 32, but I'm going to have to multiply that answer by 10. So 4 times 10 is 40, because the answer is 10 times bigger. So I've used times table facts that I know to help me solve harder problems, okay? Right, we've got another inverse problem here that we were really good at yesterday. Got the equal sign at the front again, but that's no problem for us. It doesn't matter which side the equal sign is on, we just need to solve that number sentence. 232 add something is 254, okay? Now, if I added those 2 numbers together, I would get a number that's double the size of them nearly. Will that be right, to have a really big number here, bigger than my answer? No, so we know we need to use the inverse. Make sure you're really reading that question first and looking carefully at the numbers to decide which operation you're going to do. So I know I'm going to have to do a subtraction with these 2 numbers. So some of you might count back, okay, from 54 to 32 to find the difference, but I'm just going to pop that in a column subtraction. So lots of us have been doing really well with column subtraction at home. So I'm going to subtract to find the difference. I'm doing the inverse operation. So I've laid my numbers out in place value. I'm going to start with the ones. I've got 4 ones, subtract 2 ones is 2 ones. 5 tens, take away 3 tens, 2 tens. And finally, 200, take away 200 is 0. So my answer is 22. Okay. Now I have spotted on your section A quite a tricky question that I think some of us might struggle with a little bit because we've not done these types of questions in school yet. Now question 5, if you want to get your book in front of you, we can work this one out together. Okay. So it says a quarter of something equals 40 metres. So a quarter of something metres equals 40 metres. Now we know when we're finding a quarter of something, we're splitting it into how many equal parts? Oh, if you said 4, well done, because my denominator is 4 dividing. So we would split it into 4 equal parts. So I've got my whole, there are my 4 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. But a quarter of something equals 40, okay? Well, if 1/4 of it equals 40, I know that quarter's 40 because it's told me. And we know fractions like to be equal, they're fair. So if that quarter's 40, this one's got to be 40. This one's got to be 40, and this one's got to be 40 as well, okay? So I need to work out how much is in the whole, because it's a quarter of a whole that we work out. So we need to add up these 4 40s together. I know some of you might use your times table knowledge, use those related facts to help you, but I know that 40 add 40 is 80. If I add another 40, that gives me 120, and the last 40 will give me 160, okay? So a quarter of 160 is 40, and we can see that because 1/4 of here, that's just 40, isn't it? 1 out of those 4 pieces. So have a go at filling in question 5 now, okay? You might want to pause the video and then come back to me because we're going to have a look at how to solve our multiple step questions. Okay, so multiple step questions. You can see here I've got more than one thing I need to do. I've got half of 10 add half of 12 equals. Now I've definitely got at least 3 steps there, so if we have a look, I've got to find half of 10, then half of 12 and add them together. That's 3 separate things. So remember, you can use your book to show you're working out, or even use your purple book to keep track of your calculations. So I'm going to break it into parts. I'm going to figure out half of 10, and we know when we're halving a number, we're splitting it into 2 equal groups. My denominator tells me that. So 10, half of 10, got 2 roots of 5 in 10, so that's 5. I'm going to make a note of that underneath. Now I'm going to add half of 12 to that. Now half of 12 is 6, okay? So I've done those 2 steps. The last step to do, I've got an operation in there. I need to add these numbers together. So 5 add 6, because I know half of 10 is 5 and half of 12 is 6. And 5 add 6 is 11. Okay, so we had 3 steps to complete in that question. You've also got a similar question to this in your section A. 6 add 5 add 6 add 5, okay? Now some of you might choose to do 6 add 5 and work that out. Now we've just done that. 6 add 5 or 5 add 6, that was 11, okay? Or you might choose to do your double. So 6 add 6 is 12, 5 add 5 is 10, and then add the answer together. But either way, there's going to be multiple steps that you're completing it in, so make sure you keep track of your calculation. So I'm going to do it a slightly different way. I'm going to do 6 add 6, I know that's 12, double 6, and I'm going to do 5 add 5, I know that's 10, and now I need to add those answers together. 12 add 10 is 22. Okay. Right. Last little question then that you've got that's very similar on your section A with multiple steps. You've got a double subtraction. So we've got 346 subtract 56, then subtract 30. So we're going to do it in 2 steps and do 2 subtractions. Now the first subtraction, I know a lot of you will be able to use place value and count back 5 tens and then take your 6 ones off. But remember, if you're struggling with a big subtraction, use column subtraction as your written method. So I'm just going to demonstrate that for you again on the board. So I'm going to do, first of all, 346 subtract 56. So I'm going to line up my tens, line up my ones. I'm going to get my ruler out. So I'm looking ready to solve that number question. So I'm starting with the ones. 6 ones, take away 6 ones is 0. 4 tens, take away 5 tens. Can't do that because there's more on the floor. I need to go next door and get some more. So I'm going to exchange 100. So I had 300. I'm going to exchange 100, take 1 away and leave it with 200. And I'm going to give it to the tens. So I've got 14 tens. 14 tens take away 5 tens. Ooh, that's 9 tens. And I've got 200, subtract nothing, is 200. So that first step equals 290. So now I can do the second step, which is to subtract 30, take 3 tens away. I can count back in my tens. Can you count with me? So 290 in our head, 280, 270, 260. Okay. So what I'd like you to do now is pause the video and complete your section A, looking out for our inverse questions from yesterday, your related times table facts, and breaking some of your number sentences down into those multiple steps, which is what we're looking at today. Right, so you should have just completed your section A in your booklet on page 23. So we're going to move on to our integer section, looking at some word problem sentences that involve our multiple steps. So they're going to require us to do more than one thing to solve the problem. So you've got some similar questions to these. I've got double 4 multiplied by 6. So first of all, I need to double 4. And then once I've got my answer, the second step would be to multiply it by 6. So I'm going to write that out. Now, double 4, when we double a number, we add it to itself. So 4 add 4, we know that's 8. Okay, so I've done the first step. Now we need to multiply our answer by 6. So 8 times 6. Okay, so we're going to count in our 8. So are you ready to count with me? 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. Okay, 8 times 6 is 48. Right, another similar question we've got here. I've got 65 minus 9. Okay, so these are word problem questions. They're not giving us the operation like this, the sign. The word minus, which operation do we do? Are we adding, subtracting, multiplying or dividing? Oh, what do you think? We are subtracting. When we're minusing a number, we're taking it away. So it wants us to do 65, take away 9, take away another 9. Now, I can see that 9 is very close to 10, and we've discussed before that subtracting 10 from a number is really easy, okay? So I'm going to subtract away 10, and then I'm going to add 1 back on because I've taken away 1 too many. I'm going to do it in 2 steps. So first of all, I'm just going to do 65 subtract 9. So 65, I'm going to do take away 10 instead, remember? So take away 10, well that's 55, but I've taken away 1 too many, so I'm going to add 1 back on, which is 56. I'm going to write a note of that there, because 65 subtract 9 is 56, and now I need to take away another 9, that's the second step. I'm going to take away 10 again, and add 1 back on, so 56 take away 10, that's 46, but if I add it 1 back on, so I've taken away 1 too many, 46 add 1 is 47, okay? So 65 minus 9 is 47, okay? Right, last similar question that you have on this section. Make 8 4 times the size and subtract 5, okay? Now if we're making a number something times the size, times, which operation do we use for times? Multiply, okay? So I've got to make 8 4 times the size. It's asking me to do 8 times 4, okay? Then, to my answer, the second step, because we're doing multiple steps today, is to subtract 5 here, okay? So, I'm going to do 8 times 4 first, so that's counting our 4s. Ready? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. So 8 times 4 is 32. And then our second step is to subtract 5 from our answer. So you could pop your number in your head that you get and count back. But remember to complete both of those steps to get the answer. Okay? Now finally we're just going to move on and look at our tough challenge. So in your tough challenge today, you'll see For question 1, section C, you've got another perimeter type question, but we're going to have a look at it together because this time it's involving a triangle, okay? So you might want to pause the board, make sure you're ready to complete your tough challenge, and we can go through question 1 on section C together. So it says the distance round the sides of a triangle, so there's my triangle, my three-sided shape, is 90 millimetres. Two sides measure 20 millimetres each. What is the length of the third side? Now, we know a perimeter, we did it the other day, was the distance round a 2D shape. Now this has told me for my triangle, two of the sides measure 20 millimetres each, okay? But the other one, the third side, that's going to measure a different size because it's not going to be an equilateral triangle where all our sides measure the same. It's most likely going to be an isosceles triangle where two of the sides are equal because it's told us that two sides measure 20 millimetres each. So if I get this triangle, I'll move it over, you could draw a triangle out in your book. This side here measures 20 millimetres going up this way. Now the same length aside on this side here, that's the same size, that measures 20 millimetres as well. Because two sides measure the same, okay? Now, it's asking you what the length of the third side is. Now the distance around is 90. So altogether, if we added up all three sides, it would come to 90. So first of all, I need to add up these two sides. 20 add 20. We know 20 add 20 is 40. But I'm not at 90 yet, so I need to work out the difference. So let's count on from 40 to 90 to see the measurement of the last side. So 40, let's count in our tens, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. That's 50 millimetres, the last side measures, okay? So read that question really carefully. Now, you have got one last question in your tough challenge section that I think some of us may struggle on, and it's days in the month. Make sure you have a look at your useful information page because it's got a little rhyme there to teach you about the days of the month. It says, 30 days has September, April, June and November. All the rest have 31, except February alone, which has 28 days clear and 29 each leap year. Okay? So use that to help you with the days of the month question. It's right at the front of your book. So good luck, Year 3. I can't wait to see all of your fabulous work from today.